Who even flags down a taxi anymore? With a plethora of ride-hailing apps these days, customers are really spoiled for choice. Ever since Uber showed the world that booking a cab could be seamless, easy, and affordable, many have tried to jump on the bandwagon with their own variation of the mobile app. Most of these companies think they are going to become the next big thing, but very few have actually done it, and none but one was able to dethrone the king. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the company that forced Uber out and rose to take its place in dominating the Southeast Asian ride-hailing market. Yes, we are talking about Grab. But before we continue, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified of new behind-the-business videos that we post every week. Let's begin. Like most other startups, Grab initially started off as a college project. Harvard MBA students Anthony Tan and Hooi Ling came up with the idea of a cab-hailing app in 2012 and bagged $25,000 in prize money from the pitch contest organized by their school. Their proposal was to take the idea of ride-hailing apps like Uber and make it work in the Southeast Asian market. Because the duo was from Malaysia, they were pretty familiar with the mess within the region's transport sector, and that was the problem that they wanted to solve through their service. Back in 2012, there was no ride-hailing app that actually catered to the Southeast Asian market specifically. Considering this gap in the market, the two decided to use their experiences from business school and came up with a plan to get things going. They invested their prize money into building an application for their service, naming it MyTeksi at the time. It is important to note that this was just a year before Uber launched its ride-hailing service in Singapore and 2 years after Gojek in Indonesia. MyTeksi went on to become Grab Taxi, and in 2016, it was rebranded as the app we now know as Grab. But what exactly is Grab? The original idea behind Grab was for it to be a digital platform that would connect drivers to potential customers. For their very first move, the company focused on catering their services to all demographics. They wanted to pay special attention to the well-being of their drivers and customers, which they thought would help the brand make a name for itself in the market. However, this wasn't an easy process. After figuring out their business plan and working mechanism, the next step was to get drivers and customers on board, and that's where Ling and Tan ran into a few roadblocks. Conventional services usually have a service provider as well as a user. But for the ride-hailing service, both the drivers as well as the user were customers in their own right. To even begin providing the service, they had to first source for the supply of drivers. Usually when launching a product, companies pay huge amounts of money to run ad campaigns for outreach. But the situation that Grab was in right now was different. They couldn't run an ad campaign for a company that didn't have any drivers. So instead of traditional large-scale advertising, Grab took a different approach. The two entrepreneurs changed their approach and spent hours waiting at the airport, trying to talk to as many drivers as they could. Through the connections they built with the drivers, Ling and Tan would then head down to local hangout spots, where these drivers would usually be, and started pitching their idea to them. They would go up to drivers one by one and talk to them about their business, and how it would be profitable for everyone involved. While it was a rather tedious way to get people on board, it definitely worked. Because the duo wanted to sign up as many drivers as possible, they adopted a unique method where one person would pitch the idea of Grab to the driver, while the other one would note down the driver's information and sign them up. They repeated this process with several other drivers, and in no time they had multiple driver signups. As more and more people started to join in, Grab started to grow as a reliable cab-hailing service in Malaysia. All you needed was a smartphone and access to the internet, and you're good to go. But while Grab was slowly growing and expanding into countries outside of Malaysia, Uber decided that they too wanted a piece of the Southeast Asian market, and that was when things started to get interesting. Now, Uber was of course the largest cab-hailing company in the world, operating in more than 80 countries with more than 75 million users. Compared to Grab, Uber was obviously the more reliable option for most people. Uber entered the market in 2013, and most people believed that this entrance would be the end of Grab. However, Grab had its own strengths. For starters, Grab launched in Malaysia in 2012, a year before Uber did in Singapore, and had a better understanding of the Southeast Asian market as compared to Uber. One thing that Grab did differently to Uber was that they did not see taxi companies as competition, but rather partners. and partnered with taxi companies to quickly expand its fleet and reliability. After all, what was worse than booking a ride but not having any drivers accept the request? After figuring out the key to making it work in one country, they immediately got to work on their fast international expansion across Southeast Asia. The company concentrated efforts on rapid user growth with localized versions of its ride-sharing app. Grab then further opted for a more aggressive strategy. In 2013 and 2014, Grab entered the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, each time beating Uber by a few months. However, the company was slowly running out of funds because of its constant consumer promotions and provider incentives. But thankfully, to continue its growth, Grab was able to draw $250 million in funding from SoftBank, which was a pretty large-scale investment for a small company. In the next few years, Grab continued with expanding and experimenting with local customs and culture. For instance, Grab understood that traffic in these regions tend to get pretty bad. So what did they do? They introduced Grab bikes that would allow their customers to dodge traffic. So while Uber customers would spend hours stuck on the roads, Grab offered an alternative that was practical and innovative. Another difference that Grab made was to give its customers the flexibility of paying via cash or credit, slowly weaning customers off cash payments and pushing them ever closer to the age of contactless payment. Unlike Uber that only provided a credit card payment option, Grab was able to win the trust of younger customers who did not necessarily have a credit card then, but will eventually grow up being a loyal Grab customer with more spending power. The most prominent edge that Grab had over Uber was the fact that Ling and Tan were very well aware of how much the customs, traditions, and culture meant in Southeast Asia. So while Uber was providing a pretty standardized service in all regions, Grab was doing all it could to stand out in every single market, offering a customized experience to their customers from each different country. This difference in approach is what helped Grab compete with Uber despite its young age. The fierce competition carried on with discount codes, special offers, free rides, and it was getting to a point where both companies could see a significant drop in their profits. Finally, in 2018, Uber decided to give up, and Grab took over the company's operations in Southeast Asia. In this deal, Grab was in control of all Uber operations in countries like Cambodia, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and Myanmar. Grab was also in charge of the Uber Eats operations there. In return, Uber got a 27.5% stake in Grab, which was already valued at a couple $2 billion by this point. After the elimination of Uber as their competition, Grab was then truly able to expand itself in terms of services. Not only did the company offer customized rides in different regions of Southeast Asia, they also started entering markets such as food ordering, grocery shopping, delivery services, ticket and hotel booking through its super app model. Through this expansion, Grab was able to double its revenue from $1.1 billion in 2018 to $2.3 billion in 2019. And the company is expected to venture out into more segments with time. Grab's food and grocery delivery services called Grab Food and Grab Fresh have proven to be extremely successful, earning the company almost as much as their ride-hailing segment, if not more. With all the success, you'd think that Grab was ready to slow down on the expansion, but no. Grab launched its full-fledged payment service, Grab Pay. Basically, it was a method for customers who did not have credit cards to enjoy paying on the go with a virtual debit card. Now, with Grab Pay, it was so easy to pay for rides, bills, food, and shopping online. Grab was really transforming its app into a one-stop shop for everything. Now, that was only the tip of the iceberg, as soon Grab also started providing insurance services and loans, which is a part of their Grow with Gab roadmap strategy. Under this strategy, Grab provides loans and micro-insurance to SMEs and drivers respectively, making their mark in the financial industry. Finally, Grab Pay has also extended its financial services towards offering Pay Later, a post-paid and installment payment service in Singapore, which allows customers to pay for Grab services at the end of the month with no extra charges. Pretty convenient, right? As Grab prepares for its initial public offering in July of 2021, analysts are already titling it as the largest valuation of a company, valuing Grab at $40 billion. In the span of only a few years, Grab has not only managed to become a leading ride-hailing platform in Southeast Asia, but it has also managed to outshine all of its competition. and enter markets that no other ride-hailing company has ever dared to experiment with. And this rigor is what has helped Grab stand out in the unique way it does, making it a market leader in the region. What started off as a college project has evolved into one of the most valuable and successful super apps. And this journey isn't even close to over yet. So, which ride-hailing app is your favorite? Do leave us a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified of new behind the business videos we post every week. Be inspired, and we will see you in the next one. Since you made it all the way to this point, here are 2 more videos that we know you are going to love. Go on, click it. You know you want to.